I wanted to talk about people pleasing today. And this is something that has come up in my life as a theme. And it's funny because people pleasing sort of disguises itself as this altruistic thing. Like people that are people pleasers are ultimately these selfless people. And it surely does appear that way because a lot of people that are people pleasers, they might be very nice. They might do good things. They might, sort of act in accordance with a way so that they can get positive regard from people, or that the people that they love will look at them and give them sort of kudos, that sort of thing. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but what I will say is that I think that for me, what I've discovered is that people pleasing was really something that I learned early on in childhood, and it was more or less a means, a defense mechanism, and a means to sort of be a part of this group, and that this was a sort of a survival technique for me. And so what I've learned is that for me, I do enjoy people, and I do like people to feel good. However, it's not my responsibility to be changing myself in order to make those other people feel good. And I think that's the problem. The problem is that I've misunderstood over the years and thought that, well, in order to create the life that I want and the world that I want, I have to sort of mold myself in a way that other people will like. Well, the problem with that is that you find that over time you begin to build resentments. You begin to feel like it's hard to express yourself. You begin to feel like people take advantage of you, or people don't take you seriously. And so there's this tendency to then overcompensate, and it might come out sideways, where every once in a while I would get mad and I would say something to my wife or a friend that was just totally unwarranted. It may not have had anything to do with the moment that we were fighting, but it was coming from this place, this wounded place. And so what I've had to do is I've had to go into that wound and see it differently, heal that pain, that trauma of childhood, and now approach life in a way where, people pleasing doesn't work for me anymore. So what do you do when people pleasing doesn't work? Especially if you're someone that wants to align with the quote unquote highest good and be a spiritual person, or someone that is, someone that is true to themselves and is living up to their fullest potential. And for me, that is being a kind and loving person. So how do I maintain that sort of kind, loving way of being that I know that is true, without being a people pleaser, without letting people walk all over me? So I've been sort of dabbling with this over the last 6 months or so, maybe a year, and I've learned a lot. And what I've learned is that in order to not be a people pleaser, what ends up happening is that people will not be pleased. You have to set boundaries. You have to create a way so that the others know that it doesn't work anymore. So I've found challenges with people that are closest with me with setting boundaries because they're used to a certain version of me, and they might push and they might not listen, or they might not take me seriously. And that to me is just reason more to stay with what I'm doing, because, and this is the key thing right here, this is what I really want to focus on. It's one thing to make others around you happy. It's a completely different thing to live in integrity and to focus on actualizing your own potential. And so for me, when I am coming from a place of authenticity, when I am coming from a place of truth within myself, then it may come out as being kind, it may come out as being loving, it may be setting a boundary, it may be saying no to somebody. And what happens when I stand by truth is that I don't have resentments, I don't have fears. I can interact with people in a way that is rewarding. So the fear is a big part of all of this. And fear of what? Not being liked, fear of not being part of the group, fear of not pleasing, being a pleasing person, fear of coming off as being too selfish. I think that's a big thing for me, is that I've always sort of viewed being someone that is a people pleaser as someone who isn't selfish. So in turn, it's stacked with some religiosity and spirituality in this idea that to be a selfless person is actually to be living in this in God's will, in alignment with that, with the lack of better words. But it is when it comes from a place of authenticity, and it's not when it comes from a place of fear and self-sabotage and self-protection. When it comes from those places, it creates the thing that it started from. So for me, it would create resentment, it would create fear, it would create rumination in my mind. And I would focus on these interactions that I would have with people. And, if I didn't say what I needed to say in an interaction, in a business situation, or in my relationships, then I would think about it, it would drive me nuts, I would hold on to it, I couldn't let it go. So what living in a more authentic version of myself looks like is when something comes up that doesn't fly with me, I address that. And I've learned that I can do it in a way that is still kind and still true to the nature that I am, which is I want love, I want peace, I want to spread that, I want beautiful things in this world. It's just who I am. I want to see that, and at the same time, I don't have to change myself in order to fit what other people's ideas of how I should be acting are. So I feel more free by not being a people pleaser. I feel more in touch with myself. I have less resentment. I have less stress. I am more aligned with myself and maybe even something greater, because I have seen things start to snowball as a result of this in a positive direction, where more synchronicities are happening, where my dreams are reflecting the things that I go through on a day-to-day basis, and I'm having like revelations and positive dreams, not nightmares, you know? So I think that for this video is for anyone that struggles with this, and to realize that in order to fix the problem, you have to go within. It has nothing to do with the other people. It does in the sense of how you then, what you do with your boundaries, but the issue is something that starts in here. So when you look at being a people pleaser, it might come from trauma. It might come from generational trauma. It might be a way that you learned how to get along in the world. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But at a certain point, that old script might not work anymore. And you know, your feet might have grown out of the shoe. You know, you're wearing a size 6 shoe, but now you're a size 12 and you got to get a new pair of shoes. So that's what happened to me. Was I was getting so resentful, and I was looking around and I'm like, why is this happening? It keeps happening. People seem to take advantage of me. People seem to take my kindness as a way to not take me seriously. People seem to think that I'm always going to agree with them. And I'm like, why? I don't agree with them. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not living in a way that shows that. I am living from a perspective that's outside of myself, looking at myself, judging myself. And that's the voice that's running my life. So my locus of control was out here, and I would see all of these people, and I'd walk into a room and I'd be able to get the temperature of the room as soon as I walk in, right? And by temperature, I mean, I could tell where people are coming from. That's how I've always been. I can walk into a place and I say, oh, okay, they're struggling with this. They're having a good day, they're having a bad day. This person's easy to talk to, that person's not easy to talk to. This person's slouching in their chair. And you know, some of it's probably just judgments, and maybe not, some of them are not true, but I have a pretty good feel on it. I've always been able to do that, and that's been my focus of control. So I've been focused out here, and then also focused on this voice that's judging myself. And it's like, I gotta fit what's outside of me and not listen to what's going on in here. So the shift happens when you go within, you focus on what's going on within yourself. And then in interactions with people, in the way that we treat others, in the way that we see people, we can be more of who God intended us to be, or more of who we are, more authentic, more aligned with our values and our true self. And that to me is so meaningful and resonates so much with me. And so I want to share this. And I know people talk about this. I'm not the only one. I've watched videos of people talking about this. But the point of this video, other than talking about my own stuff, is to say that it's possible to recover. Just like an alcoholic can recover from alcoholism, one step at a time. With people pleasing, you can also recover, and it's not easy. You have to confront. You find yourself in positions where people might get upset. You might feel uncomfortable. And the point is that all of that stuff is survivable, and you just move through it, and you step by step do one little thing to set a boundary, to change just a little bit that's more aligned with yourself. And before you know it, you will be able to walk through this world and not feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on you, and you won't care what other people think of you, and you will get what you want in life, and you won't be constantly letting people take advantage of you. And people will respect you. And that's really a cool thing. I had something happen a few weeks ago. 2 people apologized to me in one day. And honestly, I don't know if people rarely apologize to me. If anything, in the past, I was the one that was doing the apologizing, because, just my mere existence was like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, and now it's like, I feel good in myself. I stand in my truth. And if someone crosses a boundary, then there's value in my truth. And I don't have to do anything about it. And I don't care. I don't care if they cross the boundary then. That's the thing. If I'm in my truth, and if I'm living from a place where I feel good about the decisions that I'm making, and I'm aligned with the decisions that I'm making, I feel confident, and I don't care about what other people are doing. They can cross the boundary. They can get upset. They can do this. They can do that. It's like, it doesn't matter. Do it. It has nothing to do with me. What other people do has nothing to do with me. But how I treat myself and how I make choices has everything to do with me, and is something that I do have power over. So I hope you guys like this video. I'm just rambling. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but it feels good. Seems like it's going kind of well. And if you share some stuff that you've experienced with people pleasing, how maybe if anything that I said resonated with you, or if something didn't resonate, share it. I want to hear what you have to say, and we'll look forward to next time. Bye.